Hello, friends of Powerhouse Bakery. My name is Suzanne Parker, and I'm the founder and CEO of this fun little bakery. And today, what I want to show you is some great ways to eat on a budget. So all you wonderful divas and dudes out there, get ready to take notes. You've probably heard a lot about how to eat healthy, and if you've watched any of my videos before, you know that I love to use lots of greens, and I like to set up the plate with some of my favorite foods, or at least my ideal list of proteins, carbohydrates, and fats. So today I'm going to talk a little bit about the cost and how you can truly save so much when you plan and do a little bit of pre-prep. So if you watched my previous show, what we were looking at was the groceries that I purchased. So today we're going to do a little more prep with those groceries, and we're going to put together meals. I promised you lots of meals on a few amount of items for under $60. So I'm going to show you a little bit more about that today. So let's get started. So the meats that we have are ground turkey, and we have some frozen fish, and we have some chicken. So lots of different ways to buy chicken. My favorite is to get the simple chicken breasts, and that's what I showed you last time. Now I'm going to show you all of them beautifully cooked and ready to go. And I'm going to show you how to marinate the fish and have it for an easy pull out, pan fry, and have it ready to go midweek. And I'm going to show you lots of different ways to do the ground turkey. In fact, let me just give you a little prelude. Turkey is so versatile. Any place that you use ground beef, substitute in ground turkey. It's a great option. We are going to do meatballs. And of course, with meatballs, you can do spaghetti and meatballs. You could do meatballs with a sauce on top. So if you saw my grocery list, you know that I got some enchilada sauce, and I even got some marinara sauce. So we could easily put together a spaghetti, or we could do something a little more unusual, like maybe a sloppy joes. And we could always use different sauces. Looking in your pantry and finding some good choices is always legal in this way, because when we spend our $60 at the store, we know we're going to have some base items in our pantry already that we always want to go to and use those as well. So we've got meatballs. We can do spaghetti or on a plate with some sauce. If you've been to Powerhouse Bakery, you might have had my Chilean meatballs or my turkey meatballs with spaghetti squash. Great ways to save money and to have lots of versatility. And then I'm going to show you the turkey burger. Very easy, because you're going to see that the meats that we put together, we're going to just add slightly different toppings and add-ins, and that makes it seem like a whole new dish. And we're also going to do the famous turkey meatloaf. So 3 different ways to use ground turkey, and for a small amount, you're getting a pretty good variety, and it's going to be great nutrition. Let me show you. This ground turkey is what I purchased, and it's an excellent choice because of the leanness and the versatility. So this is going to be what I do for the meatballs, the turkey burgers, and the meatloaf. It's going to be great. We can also do a stir fry and make it a street taco, which is another item that we serve at the bakery. So really fun and great options. And while I'm at it, I'm just going to remind you of the other items I got from the freezer section that really help us pace out our week, and it keeps us on a budget. So the tilapia is this great frozen fish. It all comes individually packaged, so I can use what I need, and it stays ready to go in the freezer. Now remember, when you use the tilapia, you want to keep it frozen until ready to go. And today I'm going to show you how to do a quick little marinade, put it into some Ziploc bags, and it'll be ready for a weeknight meal that you can pop in the skillet, do a quick pan fry, and add it to your starches and your veggies. So let me show you what I've done so far. All about batch cooking. Now that I've got my base meats kind of that I've outlined, now what do we put with it to add that versatility? So this beautiful pasta, I just did a quick boil of the water. I dropped in a bag of the gluten-free pasta, and 3 minutes, it's ready to go. So the pasta costs about $1, and the turkey costs about $8 for that 3-pound chub. So pretty good pricing there. The fish is about 97 cents per serving. Pretty good. And this is a very high quality tilapia, the premium loins. You can get the flat little fillets for even a little bit cheaper. So we're going to do $8 for the turkey. The fish is going to be about 90 cents each. The chicken, let me show you this beautiful chicken. Look at how beautiful these are all baked up. Now, you can buy lots of different chicken options. I do like to go with the all natural, and what I did there was just marinate it, which again, I'm going to give you some great hints for. But the price is going to vary quite a bit, so I want you to really be on the lookout. The one that I buy is about $4 a pound. So again, when I add up my week, for $60, I can get ground turkey, 3 pounds. It's going to give me at least 12 different meals, 90 cents per unit when I'm looking at my fish. And of course, the chicken, depending on which type you get, plan on it being around $4 a pound. You can get the cheaper version that ends up being about $2 a pound, but that's when you start getting the very large breasts, and they're harder to marinate and they're just harder to work with. So then when we flip over and add our starches, it's going to even be more cost effective. So about $1 a container of the H-E-B brand gluten-free pasta, so great to add into meals. And what could be more cost effective than beautiful rice? And what I've done here is I've just done 2 to 1. So I did 3 cups of rice and 6 cups of water. And look at this beautiful rice, cooked perfectly. So I'm going to show you how we set that up. So that again, it's going to be a really easy item to save for during the week. So let me show you how I set this up. I cook a pretty large batch, and I'm going to put it in my beautiful little to-go containers. So again, this is a way to not only save money, it also is going to save time. And what I love is rice is so versatile. It's going to go with my turkey meatballs. It could also go with my meatloaf. Heck, I could even make it into a salad by adding some rice vinegar and a little bit of walnut oil, and it could be great as a cold dish, as a side salad. So I'm going to let this cool just with the lid kind of off to the side, and when it gets to pretty much room temperature, that's when I'm going to be able to put it in the fridge. But remember, we don't want to seal it until it's very cool, so at least the 40 degrees, which is the internal temperature of your refrigerator. That way you don't get any condensation on the lid, and that's going to be what maintains its freshness as long as possible. So we've got our pasta, we've got rice, and I've got one more starch or complex carb to add to our lineup for the week. Look at these beautiful potatoes. So again, I just do my batch prep. Potatoes are about $1.99 a pound, pretty inexpensive. So we're looking right here at a little under $1 worth of potatoes. And look at how many meals I can get out of this. For a family of 4, of course, I'm going to do a little bit larger than this, but we figure about a half a cup per serving. We're not too far off the mark. And we put them in our little snap containers, and they're great for the fridge. I can pull them out and assemble meals as I go. So, you say, where are the greens? Here they are. So another batch cooking process. What I did here was I purchased the beans in a bag, the family pack. They're beautiful, fresh beans. You could get the ones that you have to snap off the edges, but that's a little bit more work. So I think it's worth the money. Again, it's under $3 to buy the bag of the H-E-B green beans, fresh and beautiful. Yes, we are going to sometimes use frozen. So here I've got my beautiful bag of frozen broccoli that does in fact work just fine when we're assembling our meals. But it's nice to also have some fresh, and it's very cost effective when you get the bag that's already been pre-prepped, and then I just drop it into boiling water. So the water's boiling, I put it in for 3, maybe 4 minutes, and they come out so beautiful and soft. Still with a little bit of nice crispness. These are going to hold up beautifully in the fridge. So I drained all the water, and then as soon as they're cool enough, I'm going to dress them with a little bit of walnut oil and put them in the fridge. And then when I'm ready for my meal setup, I've got all the goodies ready to go. One more thing I want to show you. Super important to have great equipment. So when you are setting up your kitchen and really wanting to be cost effective, it's important to have a great fitting lid and pot. I use this same pot for not only boiling my water for the green beans as well as the rice, and the pasta. It's so invaluable to have an important matching lid. And notice that it's got some ventilation here, so I could even pour off the water and not lose any of my goodies inside. So don't forget to get a great quality pot with a nice fitting lid. And the last piece of tricks I think is important is that you can see through the lid. That way you can check on your rice. You know rice is done when there's no more moisture bubbling above the rice. Don't take off the lid yet. Just move it right off the heat. Let it sit there to finish softening and absorbing all of the flavors and the moisture. And then your rice is ready. And once you have it cooled, it's so perfect to be able to pop in your containers and store in the fridge. Then remember that when you're ready to refresh and serve your rice, a tablespoon of water, pop it in the microwave, and it'll be perfect. So there you have it. We've got our complex carbs. We've got our meat set up. Again, each meal will be under $2. It's a great way to go. Let's get going. So let's do some meal assembly. I want to show you some of the goodies that we do at Powerhouse Bakery so you can kind of see where I've learned all these tricks of the trade. So here is our kale and our sweet potato fries. Again, we could pre-prep these and put them right on the plate and then add in our burger and have a meal ready to go. And notice also on this meal, I've just ground up some turkey, I've added some spices, I've sauteed some peppers, and look at this side. Beans, perfect way to have street tacos. And this is something that we sell at Powerhouse Bakery, and so it's really helped me learn how versatile these dishes are. Starches can go with different meats, and of course veggies always have a place at any table and plate. So look at these beautiful meatballs. So I think what I'm going to do is dress this with the spaghetti and have a wonderful spaghetti and meatballs. At Powerhouse Bakery, we call it the real deal. Look at how it's set up. Load up some pasta. So this is about a half a cup, which is a perfect serving size. And we probably don't need this many meatballs. So for a typical serving, I'm going to do 4. And so again, portion size not only helps us with staying healthy, it also helps keep our budget intact. If we don't have lots of extra food on the table, we're less likely to eat it. So we want to set up the plates and put the rest in the fridge. And I'm just now using a simple jarred sauce, and I'm just going to pour a little bit right on my pasta. Again, these jarred sauces are around $3, so $1.99 all the way up to $5. So there's no need to buy the really expensive ones. Using this really good quality, either H-E-B or Barilla brand are excellent, and it works just fine. So now I've got my spaghetti meatballs, but we don't stop there. We've got to have our greens. So this is a perfect spot where I could add those green beans. Here are the beautiful green beans that I pre-prepped, and I'm going to put them in a small bowl and just add a little bit of flavor to them so it'll be unique and interesting for this particular dish. So I grabbed green beans from my big batch, and now I'm just going to dress them to have an interest and intrigue for this dish. So I'm going to add a little bit of olive oil, just a little splash, a little bit of rice vinegar, which truly is one of my absolute favorite ways to add flavor, and just a little bit of citrus and a little bit of punch to the vegetables. Toss it around and place it on the plate. So now it's starting to look like a complete meal. Yes, I'm pretty generous with the green beans, right? We want to make sure that the eyes eat first, and it's got to be pretty. So dressing up the plate and having lots of beauty in the colors, also the finishing touches. So here I've got a little hemp seeds. I'm just going to sprinkle those across. Yes, we could add cheese, but not only does that add price, it also adds extra saturated fat and calories. So sometimes just using a little Hemp Hearts is a great way to dress up the plate. Remember, I mentioned that having goodies in your pantry ready to go is invaluable. So let me show you a little bit about that. Having some great spices that you love are so valuable. You want to have a spicy one that's going to maybe have a little bit of heat. And you want to have a softer flavor, so one that has maybe some herbs. This one in particular has thyme and oregano and a little bit of marjoram, along with smoked paprika and a hint of garlic. Spicy, mild. So if I wanted to add a little bit of kick to those green beans, I could add a little bit of spicy or a little bit of mild. And again, that's a way to make the flavors seem more interesting and just variety for your week. That is going to be a great dish. And again, if I wanted to add a little bit more to some of these other dishes, of course, I could add in some brown rice here. I could add in some more peppers. And these are things that I'm going to have in my pantry. So a regular shopping trip, we always want to restock our fresh fruits and our vegetables. So celery and bell peppers are not only very expensive, they're very easy to mix into our dishes and make sure we've got great crunch and great variety. So let me now show you how to do the turkey meatballs. So I'm going to use that large container of the ground turkey, and I'm going to mix the base in one flavor. And then I'm going to be able to mix and match to really bring in variety. Again, about $8 for 3 pounds of turkey. You won't be able to get this much if you were to purchase beef. Turkey is a really good savings. So I'm going to add it in. Now this is a dish that I just stirred up my green beans. So just a little bit of olive oil and vinegar in there. Won't hurt a thing. And I'm going to start with half of it. And I'm going to start adding my base flavors. So, always want to have some base salt. And for this one, I'm going to stick with the soft flavors of the adobo. And I'm going to add some chopped veggies. So, peppers and onion. Great way to add in flavor. And then I'm also going to add in some celery. Powerhouse Bakery, we love celery because it adds crunch. It's also a great way to add moisture to the food. And that's going to help with giving it mouth flavor, but also it really helps with the digestion. So we want to add a little bit of each of these. So I'm going to add 3 tablespoons. This is a pound of turkey. And I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of each of my veggies. So 3 tablespoons heaping like this, or you could do 1/4 cup. It's about right. If you don't have gloves in your kitchen, it's okay to handle the raw meat. You're just cooking for your family, but you want to make sure that you wash in between working with vegetables that you're chopping, or for sure setting up your starches in your plate after you handle the raw meat. Here at Powerhouse Bakery, we often use the gloves, but there again, you don't have to. Gloves sometimes give you a false sense of security because you feel like your hands are safe, but it's always what's touching the gloves that's most riskful. So 1 pound of meat to a teaspoon of salt. That's our typical rule here at Powerhouse. And then I'm going to add my adobo. So 1.5 teaspoons. Teaspoon and a half. And now I'm going to give it a quick stir. So this will be my base. And once I cook the turkey meatballs, I'm going to add some barbecue sauce onto the top, or I could use this wonderful pasta sauce. Both would be really good. Of course, the barbecue sauce will tend to be a little bit sweeter and a little bit smokier, but both are great qualities. When I do the street taco meat, I could still use this same mixture, but add in more of that heat. So adding the Taco Tango from Powerhouse Bakery would give it just that right feel, and it would just brighten it up a bit. And then adding at the end the salsa will give you that full Taco Tango and street taco feel. So there I have it. The meat is ready to go. And now I'm going to load up my sheet pan. Here we go. So we can put several items on our sheet pan at once. And that way we're not only going to do a lot of meals at once, we're going to be able to save time. So let me show you how we set this up. So first of all, portion size is really gauged by our hand. So palm of the hand and about the thickness right at your thumb right there. And that gives me about a 4-ounce serving. So of course, hands vary. So depending on who's making the burger, you can make it a little bit bigger or smaller. I don't really think you need to weigh it, but it's not a bad idea once in a while to see how close you get. So I'm going to make 2 turkey patties on this sheet pan, and then I'm going to make some meatballs. That way I've got versatility for the week. And then I've got a loaf pan that I absolutely love. It's a nice little mini size, and I'm going to put the rest of the meat in here and add a little bit more flavor. So you'll see how I get lots of options. Now I can make the meatballs again with my hand, just rounding them. Now, if you have a little scooper, even like an ice cream scoop, that would work great too. And we're going to start these burgers in the oven and then finish them off in a cast iron skillet. Or you could just leave them in the oven the whole time. Sometimes we like to get the grill marks. And so an inexpensive, quick way to do that is, again, reheating the cast iron to extra hot and then dropping those partially cooked burgers right onto the preheated skillet will give those pretty grill marks. So now I've got my burgers and I've got my little meatballs. Now notice here I've got some chunky vegetables, and I actually really like that. I think having a little bit of texture in the veggies is just fine. One option too is you could add oatmeal to this to make sure it sticks together a little bit better, or you could even add hemp hearts, which I happen to have right on my table. So I'm going to do 3 that are more traditional, and then I'm going to add a little bit of these beautiful hemp hearts. About a tablespoon. There we go. And let's stir that around, and this will be a great little option, and you'll be able to see the difference in the texture when we cook them. There we go. So again, hemp hearts work if you're trying to do a very low carb diet. And while hemp hearts are not very cheap, I'm going to tell you, it is something that you can use a little bit at a time. Notice that I put in about a tablespoon to about a half a pound of the turkey meat, and it works out just great. So you can see that there's a little bit of those seeds popping out, and again, that'll give us some variety. Now, the hemp hearts are typically about $9 for a bag that's usually a pound. And so, yes, that's going to bump up our price just a little bit. But when I look at my tray here, each burger is about 37 cents, and each of the little meatballs there is about 19 cents. So really good way to save money. And when we put this together with our meal, we are definitely going to stay in budget. Let me pop these in the oven. So while those are cooking off, I'm going to finish up our meatloaf. So I'm going to show you a different way to mix. Remember, I really love it when we have variety. So let me put that to the side. I've got the rest of that 3-pound chub ready to go. There's a lot of different ways to make a meatloaf. In fact, when I used to run a hospital, we had a really popular one that was made with applesauce in the center, and it was delicious. We won't do that one today, but just remind me sometime and I'll show you how to do that one too. So I'm going to start again with the base flavors, and we've got, this time I'm going to add a little bit more variety. So our base flavors of salt, so this is 2 pounds, and we're going to do 2 teaspoons of salt. And we're going to do our adobo, so the base, 1.5 of the soft flavor. And now we're going to add in some garlic. And I'm going to add in a little bit of olive oil. So there was 2 tablespoons and a tablespoon of the hemp hearts. So this is going to give it moisture, and it's just going to give it a little bit more of a silky texture in that meatloaf. So there's our ingredients. I'm going to stir these together. And again, we're going to put the vegetables in as we go. You can chop them finer if you want, but I actually really like to have these already chopped in the fridge. These beautiful little snap lid containers are perfect. So this morning when I was setting up to show you this, I just emptied these little containers into the bowls so they're ready to grab. But it's so easy just to keep them handy. Notice the one I have here with my celery, great little snap lid. So I pre-prepped the veggies and I've got them all in the fridge ready to go. That way when I'm building my different meats or my starches, I've got those veggies ready to go. So now I'm mixing in the herbs. And of course the garlic is new on this one, so it's going to add a little more pizzazz. And got the hemp hearts and the olive oil. So that looks good. Now I'm going to add in my veggies. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That's just about perfect. So 5 tablespoons, that's about a little more than 1/4 cup. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. A little more than 1/4 cup. So again, rough cut. If we wanted to make it a little bit more tender, we could certainly do that. We could even saute the veggies ahead of time too, but no need. It's still going to be really nice. It'll give it a little bit more chunk, and when the meat starts to cook, the juices will really soften in with those veggies. So there we are. Our meatloaf is ready to rock and roll. I'm going to drop it in. So the meatloaf is going to cook for probably about 45 minutes. And of course, this will be a different batch than the meatballs and the turkey burger because they're going to cook in less time. But you can still put them in the oven all at once. You just have to pull them out, a little bit different timing. There we go. Now I'm going to add to the top of this some of my marinara sauce. A little bit of color and a little bit of extra flavor. And spread this around. So this is ready for popping in the oven. So notice that this has no grain, just like the turkey burger and the meatballs. So it would work for somebody that's really trying to cut down on total carbohydrates, but we also want to make sure that we serve it with these beautiful carbs that we've put together. So the meatloaf and the turkey burger will be so great either with the sweet potato fries or with roasted red potatoes, and always adding some greens. So in this dish I had that kale, but we could always substitute in the broccoli and the green beans, and it's not a bad idea to have some kale in your fridge. This is the one that we purchased, and I love having this pre-prepped as well. So pulling open the bag and making sure that you get all the little stems off makes it so easy to just lift off your lid from your Tupperware, grab it, add a little bit of your olive oil, and there you have a ready-to-go salad. So we are building more and more meals with this small batch of groceries. The chicken and the ground turkey, easy meats to go, and the fish. And so as you see how we put all these together, your repertoire of meals is going to be so wide, and you're staying on your budget. So each meal, my goal, each meal is going to be under $2, and you've got so many choices. So I hope this has helped, and next time we're going to show you one more setup with the fish that goes with fish tacos, as well as a little sautéed fish with one of these beautiful sides of the starches and the green veggies. So I hope this helped, and I look forward to seeing you next time.